I'm Kevin Nelson. Here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from the Vatican. During an ordinary public consistory, a meeting of the Pope, cardinals, and promoters of sainthood causes that formally ends the sainthood process, Pope Francis confirmed the canonization of 2 of the 3 Fatima Visionaries. He also announced they will canonize 34 more people later this year. Rome Reports has more from the Vatican.
Pope Francis summoned all of the cardinals residing in Rome to set the date of the canonization of new saints, including 2 of the 3 seers of Fatima, Francis and Jacinta. Cardinal Angelo Amato recalled some of the episodes of their life.
Frequentarono poco la scuola, restando praticamente analfabeti. Appresero il catechismo in casa, in compagnia della loro cugina Lucia.
The Pope then announced the date of the ceremony in Latin, as ecclesiastical tradition dictates.
Beati Franciscus e Jacinta Marto, die tertio decimo mensis Mai anno bis millecimo septimo decimo.
Pope Francis also announced that he will canonize 34 more people on October 15th. These are the 30 Brazilian martyrs led by Jesuit André Savaral, who was murdered in July 1645 by Dutch soldiers. Also included will be the priest Ambrosio Francisco Ferro and layman Mateo Moreira, both murdered for their faith along with 27 other people. In the October ceremony, the Pope will also canonize the martyrs of Chacala, the first martyrs of Mexico. Their names were Cristobal, Antonio, and Juan, and they died in 1527 and 1529. The last of the new saints will be the Spanish piarist Faustino Miguez, who founded the Daughters of the Divine Shepherd Institute in 1855 to care for girls.
The Pope will preside over the canonization ceremony of the Fatima Visionaries during his visit to Fatima, Portugal, May 12th through the 13th. The pilgrimage will mark the 100th anniversary of the Marian apparitions, which began May 13th, 1917. The canonization of the 2 young visionaries, who were both under 10 years old, was stalled for decades over debate on whether the non-martyred children had the ability to understand heroic virtues at such a young age. In 1979, St. John Paul II allowed their cause to advance and eventually declared them beatified in 2000. In news now from around the country, the chairman of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Daniel Rooney, who died last week at the age of 84, was remembered for his quiet strength based on his faith and as a man of the people. Cardinal Donald Wuerl of Washington delivered the homily at Rooney's funeral, saying that Rooney symbolizes the quiet strength, character, resilience, and joy of Pittsburgh. Cardinal Wuerl had known Rooney for some 50 years from his time as a priest and bishop in Pittsburgh. Also celebrating with Cardinal Wuerl was Pittsburgh Bishop David Zubik. Among the over 1,500 people in attendance for the Mass were former President Barack Obama, former Secretary of State John Kerry. In addition to being a leader of Pittsburgh and the Steelers, Rooney was proud of his Irish heritage and worked as a U.S. ambassador to Ireland. He supported the Ireland Fund, which engaged both Protestant and Catholic youth education and community building programs. More news now from around the country. The Catholic Home Missions Appeal is coming up on the weekend of April 29th and 30th here in the United States. The money raised from this second collection helps support more than 40% of the dioceses and eparchies in the United States and its territories in the Caribbean and Pacific. Catholic News Service has more on the work of the Catholic Home Missions.
When the collection plate is passed around at Catholic churches throughout the United States the weekend of April 29th, Catholics will have an opportunity to impact the religion in the country.
They are really being missionaries themselves. For those of us who can't embark on a journey to engage in mission, we have the opportunity as contributors to this collection to be missionaries in fact by supporting the activity of those home mission dioceses here in the United States that so clearly need our help.
That second collection is called the Annual Catholic Home Missions Appeal, and it helps support more than 40% of the dioceses and eparchies in the U.S. that are unable to financially support their religious ministries.
They are called home missions because they really do represent a missionary activity of the Church here in the United States, in our very home. The reason that these dioceses can't support themselves is that in many cases they represent impoverished communities, rural communities, where the parishioners simply can't afford to make significant contributions to support their home diocese. They may represent dioceses that are huge geographically, but very sparsely populated, and where the priests need to administer programs in different parts of a very wide-ranging area without the support of large Catholic populations to help them get by day.
And finally in the news, the Diocese of Fresno, California is urging the local Catholic community to be people of light, not darkness, by rejecting the temptation to hate the hater. The statement comes from the diocese after 3 men were killed April 18th in a shooting rampage in Fresno by a gunman who was captured and admitted to the shootings. The gunman was also wanted in the slaying of a security guard in Fresno the previous week. One of the 3 victims was shot at a bus stop near a Catholic Charities office, and another was shot in the agency's parking lot. Kelly Lillis, Executive Director of Catholic Charities in Fresno, said the Catholic Charities team had come together for prayers for the victims and their families, for clients and each other. She added that they also continued their work, opening their doors the day after the shooting, saying that nothing will stop them from being a light for the community and that they will continue to be here even in times of great sadness. Well, that is all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week. Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV Network.